welcome in, and it's time for the madness. March Madness is here. It's Friday, March 19th, 2021. This is the Hoops Betting Hour, presented by Pixwise and powered by FanDuel. We are here. I am the big man on campus. He's Donnie Rightside, and it's time, Donnie, to get into the brackets. The first full day of March Madness. We got today, we got Saturday, we got Sunday, we got Monday. Basketball for the next 4 days. I can't wait. We're breaking it all down today. How you doing?
Doing good. Jansen jumps in the chat box. Tired of watching reruns on this show. I'm here live. We are live. You are live. Send your messages through the chat box. But there is no delay today, Jeff. We're not talking futures. We're not saying, hey, me and Jeff told you to take UCLA. It's not even about that, right, Jeff? Put the money in your pocket, move forward. It's day one of the NCAA tournament today. And as I look right now, 12:15 tip, there will be a game. Set the stage for this show, Jeff, because I am revved, ready to hit every single game and give this good information.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go game to game, time to time, break them down, throw you some stuff out there, hit them all. That's what we do here. We did yesterday's show. We broke those games down. And, Donnie, I'll admit, I don't think we did half bad. When you look at the games, kind of went how we thought they would. Very low scoring, at least three of them were. Game 4 just went nutty at the end. UCLA goes on a crazy run, and that goes into overtime, gets into the 80s. But Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern, a slog fest. VCU, Dayton, a slog fest. All in all, it was a tough little start if you liked offense last night.
No, absolutely. So it is what it is here, and you have to be able to change, be a chameleon in the tournament. Jeff knows I love overs. I love team total overs. You completely shift around and start looking at some of those dogs, which I did yesterday, did well in college basketball. I know the big man giving out some good pointers on that, and that type of theme, Jeff, is going to stay with me today. So what do you say before – now, look, the tournament is on right now. If you haven't seen the big man on campus yet with his picks, Jeff, really quickly here, because I'm going to read a promo. Before I do that, are we looking like, horns up anywhere? What do we got? Huh? What are we looking at this tournament?
Well, yes, we are looking at horns up. I have Texas winning the whole thing. And I took a lot of crap yesterday on Twitter because, look.
Is that real, Jeff?
Yeah, if you don't agree with brackets and you pick upsets occasionally, which I thought were in vogue, Donnie. I don't know why people were so. But it's like, it's the whole – what I've learned, Donnie, quickly, and this might sound arrogant. I don't really care, though. There are guys out there, with the name that have like Joe Locks. Like that's his name. Like he's like a capper, I guess.
Follow that guy, yeah.
Yeah, and what they're trying to do is they want me to speak about them so people go and they get 10 followers out of it. I don't even do it anymore. I just go away. But yeah, that's what they want to do now. Oh, you stink. You can't. Your opinion. Grand Canyon beating Iowa? That's ridiculous. Well, it's not that ridiculous. If you actually know about matchups, it's not a great matchup. And it might be wrong, but yeah, so I have Texas winning the whole thing. Horns up, baby. They beat Houston and do it up big.
There you go. Some long shot winners here. The Pickwise Capper contest starting up with a bang, because if you go to the Pickwise website there, you can see the big man on campus saying, give me that big ticket on Texas. A lot of people I see, Jeff, Gonzaga's out there, maybe a Baylor or two, but the big man on campus putting his neck out there going for that
hits, I win the competition.
So, exactly. He's going to win it. So 9 experts going to give out their best bets each and every day of the tournament. The most profit at the end, big man, $10,000 cash prize. John Rothstein, Rashard Phillips, Megan making money from the FanDuel Sportsbook, and the big man on campus, Jeff Nadu. Picks from all contestants will be up on the website, so check it out on the Pickwise website for the capping contest that will start today in the big man on campus, ready to go and firing away. And how about this, Jeff? 12:15, Virginia Tech and Florida setting the stage here. Opened up as a -1 favorite, Jeff, for the Florida Gators. Flips over now to Virginia Tech, and we take a look here at the over-under. 137.5 drops to 135.5, and I like that theme. Game 1, day 1, Jeff. What are we thinking?
Quick thought, though, on that competition, Donnie. We started it last night. I went a little different than most of the folks on there. Every person, I think, on there had at least 2 or 3 picks. You can have up to 3 picks a day.
Yes.
You know how many I had, Donnie?
None?
1. And that's what it was?
Ookla?
Mount under.
Ah, okay.
So I started 1-0. I don't know what the rest of the people started. So I'll let them off throw out 3 plays a day, hopefully break even or lose or whatever. They can't break even, but hopefully go 1 and 2, and I'll be okay. Okay, let's get started. Yes, Virginia Tech, Florida. This game, I'm not good. I'm not personally betting, but I will say this. I think Virginia Tech has to be the play here if I'm playing it in a bracket pool. I just don't like Florida. I don't like Mike White. I never have. I think the coaching advantage here is surely on Mike Young. Now, I will say this. Virginia Tech, the concern sometimes when you have backing them is they shoot a lot of threes. I mean, that's their offense. That was Mike Young's thing at Wofford. It's his thing at VT. But the good thing is, Donnie, it's not one of these teams that's high variance because they make threes. I think they shoot it at 38%. So they're really good from the arc. I actually like some of their guys from like just a one-on-one standpoint. Kiva Luma, I think he's just a little too fast for like a Colin Cowston. And when you're Mike White in Florida, they just don't run. They should run. I think their offense would be a lot better. I think they'd be a lot better, but they have this in their head where they just don't want to run. I think Virginia Tech is the better basketball team, and we've talked about that. Sometimes you have to do it. I thought the other night in the NIT, West Kentucky was just a better team than St. Mary's. I think Virginia Tech is the better team. It's tough when you lose a guy like Keontae Johnson. They've been honorable this year, Florida, but I think VT's the play. Money lines, I think 112. I like the Hokies here.
Yeah, Florida wants to get maybe a little bit more up-tempo than Virginia Tech does. And just looking at it, most people fill out their brackets. What? Virginia Tech actually has a basketball team? Give me Florida. I'm going the opposite direction. The money running that way as well. So now as a favorite as opposed to a dog, I am on Virginia Tech today, Jeff, on the money line at minus 112 just to win this basketball game. And it's not a great one for me, but again, it's the start of the hoops hour for us here, and it's the start of the day. So we are going to be interested, right away on this game. Is it a 10-bell game, Jeff, that we're like, oh my goodness, we really got to get into this game? No, but it's each and every game we are going to hit right down the card, 12:45 p.m., Jeff. Go ahead.
I think it's the first game on the card here. And like I admit, I wavered on playing Vatek, but I think you have to get into the point of like, you do not have to play every game. And I know no one wants to hear that. It's Friday, but I'm just saying, like, Florida's just – they do have talent, and this is a coin flippy game. And ultimately, Donnie, does this game in your bracket mean much? Not really.
No.
So I think it's one of those stay away, Jones. Go to the next one.
Yep, I'll be on at Virginia Tech money line minus 112 in this game. Let's flip it down. This game is getting a lot of attention here because if the computer guys, and we like to use that as a nice term for them, type it up, they go, oh my God, Colgate should be favored by 11.5 over Arkansas. Something's going haywire in my numbers right now. But if we take a look, it's Colgate, Arkansas, opened up at 9.5 at FanDuel here, Jeff, as a favorite towards Arkansas, now down to 8.5 with an over-under that's actually going higher here, 158 to 160. When I take a look at this game, there's two train of thoughts, right, Jeff? Colgate runs an efficient offense. They're a good basketball team. We're not going to take that away. But you're leveling up in competition in the SEC where some of those open looks that you have, they're now being closed out by elite defenders. That layup that you have in your conference, it's no longer going to be there because it gets erased on the glass by somebody who's super athletic and probably heading to the NBA. Here's my thought process on this game. I do like Colgate. I do like Arkansas. But if I'm looking for a competitive game, I'm going to know, Jeff, in the first half, if Colgate is going to be able to stick around. If Colgate is able, an elite shooting three-point team, to make a couple threes in the first half and get in the rhythm, they should be around. But in this game also, the same concept is if Arkansas is the better team, they're going to let you know right away. So I'm not looking forward to taking Colgate for the full game at that 8.5. If I think they hang around, it's going to be in the first half. I'm taking Colgate, Jeff, in the first half plus 4.5. Because if they're down 10 at the break, they're not coming back in this game. But if they are hanging around like I think they might be able to be, then they're going to be in for it in the second half. Give me Colgate in the first half in this game. What are you looking at in this game between Colgate and Arkansas?
Yeah, I don't think they compete in this game. I'll be honest. I think this is a major step up, level up game.
It is.
When you look at Colgate, they first of all don't have they can't say that they had their out of conference chops when and played teams because they didn't. They only played their conference. They started January 2nd, and that was it. Look, I think their offense is solid. When you look at this net rating and stuff, look, let's be honest. Like they didn't play anybody. It was limited. They had what they had. But I just look at Arkansas, and I think they're just so much bigger. They're so much stronger. They're so much more athletic. I guess I can see your point. If it's going to be any sort of hanging around for Colgate, You'd hope it's early. I just worry for them. It's like, oh my God, this team's just way bigger, way stronger, way faster. And we get to a point where possessions are a lot longer than expected, and they're getting bad shots up. I'm just looking at a full game standpoint. I thought the number was too low. I think Arkansas wins by double digits here. I think Colgate's going to turn into a really one-dimensional basketball team. I just don't know if they have the athletes to run with the likes of Arkansas. And I think Arkansas eats at the rim, gets whatever they want. What I know about Colgate is I do like Jordan Burns. I think, Nelly Cummings is a good player too, but the bigs are slow. Their bigs are weak. And I just don't think their bigs can bang with guys like Justin Smith and those kids down low. So I'm going to go with just talent, uber talent, the 5-star kids, the Moses Moody's of the world over the kids that I think are just going to be shell-shocked a little bit. One thing to keep in mind, I know these are different years and whatever, but Colgate played Auburn last season, gave up 91 points in that game. I think the pace is concerning. I think Arkansas scores into the 90s. I'll take them to cover the number here. So we're kind of going different ways here, Donnie, but I think your point is valid. If there's going to be any hanging around from Colgate, the Raiders, It's going to be probably early, and you're flipping at that point.
I need a couple 3 balls because they're an elite shooting 3-point team, and that's the ultimate equalizer in college basketball. Like if Colgate can go 7 of 12 in the first half from 3-point range, they're going to be in it. But I do agree with you. This is going to be a decisive margin 10 minutes into the game. Like, whoa, hey, Colgate's got a 14-13 lead right now, or man, 20-7 here, and here's Colgate just firing up 3 after 3 after 3 as soon as they get an open look to try to get back into the game. So I do agree with you. This is the fun part about the tournament, Jeff, right? You're getting 2 teams that don't normally match up from different conferences to see how it plays out on a neutral court without a lot of fans. That's why we try to break this game down. Also, this game, go ahead.
This is a bad matchup as well because, Donnie, I think how you pull up that's in this tournament a lot of the time is throwing out something that's different from the norm. So, like, Colgate has no other way to go but fast. And that just plays right in, I think, to Arkansas's hands, man. Like, I feel like if you can kind of throw in a different wrinkle, maybe you could surprise a team. But Colgate is just really one way. I don't really know if they're going to really bother Arkansas. They're going to run and they're going to adhere to the up-tempo style.
Yep. Give me a nice little 38-35 halftime score here. I will take that all the way to the bank, sitting on the 4.5.
That's a good point. Donnie, do you just go back as well to that first half over that I was playing with Arkansas I think it was Arkansas in the SEC.
Arkansas
tournament?
LSU, was it?
I mean, who stops who in this first half? Like, I feel like
you're gonna get tempo. You're gonna get one team that shoots a lot of threes. So there are gonna be a lot of open looks here. Like these teams aren't gonna change their stripes. They get here like Colgate's not gonna be like, hey, let's run the shot clock down all the way. You play the way you play. There should be a lot of shots. So maybe looking at it, and again, that's why it's 160. Do you know what I mean? It's not a 131 and a half.
No, it's a high total. And again, we've talked about 160 totals. Like a lot of people just say, oh, that gets into the 80s, both teams. It's hard to hit those totals, man. You need everything to go right. If you have a 3 or 4, like that LSU, the LSU game where we had the brutal beat in the first half, there was like a 4-minute stretch where they both scored like 6 points. Like that can't happen. You need up and down basketball, and you can't have those droughts, man. You just can't.
Davidson, NC State, NIT yesterday. I thought you had that one in the bag over at 137. Next thing you know, it comes to a grinding halt, and you don't end up picking up. You still got to get over the total, as we like to say. Over 200 people watching live here in the chat box on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, presented by PicksWise and powered by the FanDuel Sportsbook as we march towards madness here and get through this card today. This game here, Jeff, I'm going to bring up. The only game on the card, I'm not going to be able to talk basketball with you here and say I have a side in this game. I don't have a side in this game, and that's Drexel versus Illinois. If you take a look at the matchup, obviously it's big boy basketball versus a good basketball team in Drexel right out of the Philadelphia area. But the problem is when we talk about leveling up in competition, they're going to see players that they see in comic books, right? For Illinois, like I'm 6'6", I have to guard this guy right here. Are you kidding me? I don't know how Drexel hangs around in this game, opens up at 22.5, sits at 23, over under at 143.5. I could see Illinois doing whatever they want, Jeff, but it's survive in advance. Does Illinois need 90 points in this game to prove a point to anybody? No. Can Drexel actually score in this game? The only game today, I apologize to the people, I will not have a side or a total because it could be a blowout. It could be an ugly game where Illinois wins by 15. I don't have a feel, Jeff. Talk to me on this. Drexel, Illinois.
Yeah, I think Drexel's shot at kind of hanging around in this game is to do kind of what they do. They're actually a competent team. Like they
are,
have some pretty good players. Like
they do.
Cameron Winters a good player. Butler's a solid player. I worry for them about Coburn. I don't know if they have the personnel to deal with
That's what I mean. Yeah, like he's just like soup. Like you see this guy, like it's like I'm going up against Shaquille O'Neal. Like what am I doing with this guy down here?
Yeah, right. I think Drexel, their kind of thought here would just be, we do play slow already. Every time we have the ball, we are going to take time off. We're going to do what we can, and we're going to try to run some offense. I don't think Illinois' defense is great. I think they have been great recently. I don't know if they are great, though, and they could totally shut down the Dragons here. But I think the only way you look at this game, in my opinion, I think they have a lot of good matchups, Illinois, one-on-one. I would maybe look towards a team total over here. I don't really want to worry about their defense. And when I look at the team total, I think the number's kind of where it should be. Low, almost to mid-20s, 22.5, 22. That's kind of, I think, a solid price. I don't really have any interest there. But 83.5 is the team total. I kind of had them priced around 85. I think 83.5 is just a little low. Once they get into their offense, and this game is, let's say, 41-26 at the half, I think Illinois kind of cruises. They run a pretty solid, crisp offense, maybe one of the best offenses in this tournament, and especially from a pace standpoint. I think their second unit's good as well, so if they take players out, I think they'll still score. That's one thing about these kind of games, Donnie. Once the second unit comes in, can you still competently score and get those totals and get those spreads? I think Illinois has a really good second unit as well, so if I had to play this game, I would do team total over 83.5 for Illinois. I think they push 90 probably.
Hit the subscribe button, hit the likes, thumbs up, thumbs down. Keep in mind, we're doing games all throughout the day. We're going to have a tip, Jeff. It's at 9:57 tonight between Villanova and Winthrop. So maybe you're at work. Maybe you want to get some added advantage in checking out the show on a replay. Still time to hit the thumbs up, thumbs down, hit that subscribe button. A lot of subscribers have done that over the past week and a half on these shows. We do thank you guys for that. Julian Cesare says, Illinois by 100. Lloyd says there could be some points in this game. Jansen says, I'm taking Drexel just for the points. Julian also coming back with Illinois first half -12 and loves the -122 all day as well. So it's interesting to play out. Now, Jeff, quick question on this game. If we're talking about Illinois, who we think could score at will versus Drexel, and I do think that, is it more prudent to take maybe a team total first half versus Illinois? Because if they get it in the first half, you're probably going to get it in the second half. But if you don't get it, are we looking at maybe a sluggish second half where they just grind out a win and get out of town here?
Maybe. I think, these teams are generally always stronger in the second half, where maybe you get to like 40, and then in the second half you make some slight adjustments that you saw in the first. Drexel probably realizes, hey, this game's over, and you're not going to have slow possession or anything late. I'm just kind of comfortable with them hitting 85. That was kind of where I had it.
Yeah.
Am I going to have this game on my card today? No, I'm not betting every game, but I do want to.
That's the only game I don't have a side on, Jeff. So I like the people's input and yours on this. It is.
It's a tough one. Chris Carter says the best combo in sports. Back together, been enjoying the show. Thanks, man. Chris Carter chiming in, the old Vikings receiver.
Yeah, we cut him. I know. He doesn't hold it against us Philly guys that we cut him. So thank you for that, Chris.
Yeah, he's also hiding, calling himself Christopher Carter, which I don't think didn't Chris Carter just go by Chris Carter?
He did, yeah. Yep. So, hey, sometimes you got to have that alias, Jeff, that burner when you log into it or you sign into a hotel. It can't always be the same thing.
It's just a C.
King D, Jeff, Illinois over in the first half is the move, 68 points. I think you get a true first half in this game and they grind it out. But it's a tough one. When you have these big, huge lines, you're talking about a lot of conjecture.
Drexel's going to slow it. They're going to take a lot of time off the clock every time they have the ball. And the question
Their hope is Illinois misses and they can clog the game up. That's basically what Drexel's not coming out going, you know what, Jeff, we're going to come right after him today. That's not
my
really what
concern for King D is this game is 38-19 at the half. Like that would be my issue there. Drexel isn't like they're just going to be. They're Mount St. Mary's. They're going to walk the ball up the court. Like that's what they want. Slower amount of possessions, the less chance they have to lose by 30.
All right, here we go, Jeff. Keep him one of my favorite teams in this tournament. Maybe a short stay for him. 7:33, 7:34. Utah State and Texas Tech going to tee it up at 1:45 Eastern. Opening line -4.5 towards Texas Tech, Jeff. We're actually seeing a half-point drop here to -4 as a favorite for Texas Tech. The over-under also a common theme today, Jeff. 132 down to 131. Nemish Queta is one of my favorite players in college basketball, a true big man, inside game, outside game, that nice little, 15-foot jumper he can knock down, hits his free throws at a decent amount. That's a big that you don't see all that often. But Texas Tech, we talk about leveling up. Big 12 is obviously a much better basketball conference overall than the Mountain West, but the Mountain West has had a pretty good season overall as is. When I look at this game, do we think there's going to be a lot of points? No, it's 131. But here's what I'm looking at, Jeff. I think Texas Tech is going to be able to do enough on offense, specifically in the first half. And we're talking about low numbers. My wager on this game is Texas Tech's first half, Jeff, over 31.5. I'm hoping the tempo gets a little bit higher. Maybe even you get Nemish Queta in a little foul trouble so you can get to the rim against this Utah State defense. Hopefully Utah State will be able to fire back. They have a pretty good squad. And, Jeff, you've talked about them a lot. You got really good guard play. You got elite three-point shooting at a couple guys, and you have a dominant big man. That's a recipe for success in the NCAA tournament. I think they score a little bit more points than the experts say, but I'm going Texas Tech first half team total, Jeff, over 31.5. Utah State, Texas Tech, what you got here?
Yeah, I think this is way too rich as far as four. Like I see this game as like a flip to me. I think Utah State, I think you make the case they're the better team. Okay, when you look at emphasis on team, Donnie, you mentioned Queta. Who on Texas Tech can stop Queta? I know, obviously, Beard's going to probably have something here. I will make this clear. I think Chris Beard is the second best coach in America. I think he will expertly figure something out. But at the end of the day, sometimes game plans, you need the personnel. And I'm not sure that he has the personnel to deal with Queta. And the problem is, if you double Queta, Utah State has snipers that are just going to knock you out, man. And at the end of the day, the bad part that Texas has is they are not a good three-point defense. They've struggled all year in that metric. It's just not been good. I think Mac McClung is the type of kid that could put a team on his back. But now that Utah State's healthy and ready to go, they've got a new lease on life. They're in the tournament. I have a hard time going against them. I think this is a close game. I think 4 is pretty valuable here. I think I'm getting the better team. I undoubtedly believe Utah State can win. In fact, I have them moving on in this game from a bracket standpoint. I think Utah State gets the job done here. I think they're playing good basketball. When you talked about fouls, Nemish Queta, 3.3 fouls committed per game. He's only fouled out twice this season, and he hasn't had more, I think, than 2 fouls in like 5 or 6 games. So,
elite. He's an elite big. He's a fun watch. He's going to be one of those guys, if they win this game today, heading into the round of 32, Utah State's going to be on a lot of people's radar.
Getting Raleigh Worcester back's huge, man. He had a great season. Assist rate, top 200 in America, I believe, which is quite good. This team shoots the ball pretty well. They haven't been great, but they've been good. And Brock Miller's been a kid, I think the kid with the headband.
Flamethrower.
I get them confused just because some of the kids.
Yeah, he's the 55-year-old guy with the headband. Yes, that's Brock Miller.
I mean, he shoots at 37%, really good stuff. I like this team, man. I really do. Big group too. I just don't know that Santos Silva can handle them, and I'm gonna go with the Aggies here.
Yeah, they have every piece you want. If you're looking for a team that, Jeff, maybe they struggle from three-point range, well, they can move it down low to a big man. They can play elite defense. I just think Texas Tech is a little bit better here. But again, I'm rooting for Utah State. The good part about it is I don't have Texas Tech as a side here saying, oh, boy, I don't want to root against each side here. I just need Texas Tech to get 32 points in the first half. I am cheering for Utah State. If you guys know anything about me, I love the Mountain West. This is one of my favorite teams to watch. I probably watch them more than anybody else. And you're right, the guard back play, and sometimes you like it. Worcester missed a couple games here. Why is that big? Ashworth's still a freshman. He was able to handle those point guard duties. So now you have 2 guys in the backcourt that can handle it proficiently. And also, yes, you can't just double the big man down low. He's an elite passer. Flip it out to some 3-point shots. It's a fun game. Most people would go right by 131, Texas Tech, Utah State, ugly game. Not me, Jeff, not you. We like this kind of games.
I just think also, I think maybe the best play you have here, truly, is probably just saying, you know what? This is a rock fight. I know Chris Beard is a master game planner. I know that Craig Smith is a pretty damn good coach as well. And you just look at the path, Donnie, for offense. It probably is more likely from Utah State, but either way, both teams are going to struggle because if you know what Texas Tech does defensively, they really limit the opposing big, okay? And when you look at Utah State, while good offensively, I'm okay with them shooting jump shots. I don't think Texas Tech has a clear path to offense really either because Utah State, Donnie, fourth in the country in two-point defense, actually very good on that end. So I think the best play could just be here. We saw some rock fights yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think we might see him here today. So I go Utah State. I think it's like a 65-61 type of game. That's the kind of thought I have here.
Yep. Pulling the rug out from under them, Utah State going to try. And again, they are elite defensively inside the arc. Why? Because Nemish Keita's down there blocking shots. You're not just going to be able to get to the rim. So for me, selfishly, Jeff, I'm hoping for 2 fouls and a ref show in the first 5 minutes on Keita. So that opens up the court for Texas Tech so he can score some points. I'm just putting on my bet here. I know. We've seen it many times before. Don't get me started on Gonzaga a couple years in the tournament where the ref's goal were to foul every big they had. So, remember Karnowski, Jeff? Dude couldn't even walk up the court without getting a foul in the tournament. It was absolutely outrageous.
Like, I guess I look at myself like these refs in the ref room before the game, and it's like, they're here to see us. Let's do it. It's like, no, nobody's here to see you.
Like the refs break it down. Like they don't introduce the refs, and the refs don't run out the center court and like do a little dance, and then the game starts, guys. Come on, get with it.
Exactly.
Let's keep going here. Now, this game is very interesting here. High number and 154.5. It opens up now to 157. We're talking Oral Roberts and Ohio State. Is Ohio State the better team? Yes. Is Ohio State more talented? Yes. Does Ohio State play in a better conference? Yes, they do. But we're not talking about, Jeff. Let's money line Ohio State when maybe some other people might actually recommend that today, I bet. But when we're looking at this game overall,
short people.
Exactly. So Oral Roberts, they go quick. They can make 3-point shots. If you're looking at this game as a whole, for myself, I actually do like Oral Roberts. It's sitting at 15.5 now. Before the show, I got it at 16. Some people maybe jumped the gun early in the week, which you can't do. We can't do a live show and be like, hey, you know what? I got it at 17. Well, come on. We're going to look at numbers that are as of today or before the show or sometime around. So I actually took Oral Roberts plus the 16. It's not because I think they can win, Jeff. It's because I look at Ohio State, clearly the better basketball team. If this game goes in the second half, we know Oral Roberts wants to push. And same thing, Ohio State's going to play with some tempo. This game, to me, comes down to if Ohio State is up 20 points with 5 minutes to go. Ohio State is not keeping their starters out on the court because they know they have another game to play 36 hours or whatever in just a few days away. Oral Roberts is not going to put their kids on the bench and say, it's over. They are going to play it right down to the gun. They have the ability to go up tempo, make a couple 3-point shots, and get inside that number. Would I be surprised if Ohio State runs out to a 20-point lead? No, I wouldn't. But I think Oral Roberts has enough shot-making ability, Jeff, to keep this game in the low teens by the end of the game. I'm going Oral Roberts with the 16. Jeff, do you think they can hang around this game? Or I know you're going to say Ohio State, hey, every time I watch them, they just throw like hook shots up from half court and they go in and one every time.
They do. But in this game, they're not going to have any trouble scoring. I mean, Oral Roberts could be the worst defensive team in this tournament. They just play at a pace that's really not conducive defensively. And, Oral Roberts has been without their best defender, R.J. Glasper, for a long time, and it's shown. I mean, they had a little bit of kind of a respectful showing in the tournament, Summit League tournament, but quickly it became just an up-and-down affair. But, Ohio State with Dwayne Washington and Liddell and all those guys, they're not going to have any issue scoring here, okay? They're a really legitimate offense. They're a top 10 offense all season. They're going to go up and down and really, I think, punish a bad defensive team. But when you look, Donnie, at your play, I have some thoughts on how you back and when you back big dogs like this. There are 3 things you need to look at. Do they turn the ball over? Or Roberts? No, they don't. Top 25, actually, and not turn the ball over.
Correct.
Can they make threes? Yes. 39%, 11th in America. And C, can they make free throws when given the opportunity? Donnie, do you know who the number 1 team in the country is at the free throw line?
Give me.
Roberts.
Ooh.
83%.
That's outrageous.
That is absolutely stunning.
That's like having every player is Reggie Miller at the free throw line or Ray Allen.
It's crazy. You look at Max Asmus, right?
Wow.
The number 1 scorer in America. 90% on 125 attempts.
Yeah, exactly. Not 9
like
of 10.
20,
Yeah. Yeah.
Not 19 to 20. No, he's 113 for 125. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And Asmus can drop 40. He scored 40 or more down in 2 games over the last month. I know you're leveling up a little bit in competition, but I've seen Ohio State many times. They are not a good defensive team, and they have no problem turning this into a 90 to 75 type of game, 90 to 80 type of game. O'Banner and Asmus are really good in the pick and roll. There's some really great shooters. You look at up and down this roster. Donnie, listen to this from a three-point standpoint. Asmus, 43%. O'Banner, 46%. Kareem Thompson, 43%. Deshaun Weaver, 38%.
Let's go.
This team can snipe, man. Snipe. 3 guys at above 40%. I'm not worrying about a number. I'm not worrying about a spread, though I do think Oral Robert covers. I like the over. I actually gave it out on that competition. That's a play that I like. I don't see a situation where this is a slowed up atmosphere. I think both teams score. Both teams are able to do what they want on offense. And I think both teams ultimately, at least one gets into the high 80s or 90s. The other team gets into the 70s, and we find it over here.
Close to 300 people now watching live. We knew this show would kick up the gas once the start of the tournament. We're going to be live today, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. When we got games live, we will be here breaking down each and every game, giving our opinions on it. And, of course, if you want to get down, where do you get down, Jeff? FanDuel Sportsbook here, as I posted here just in the live chat box. Oral Roberts' team total is sitting at 70.5 right now at FanDuel.
Yeah.
I think they're going to score. Maybe not a bad look, but here's also why I bring that up, Jeff. FanDuel Sportsbook, clean, smooth, plenty of ways to bet. Player props in college basketball, sides, totals, in-game action. And again, if you're talking about in-game action yesterday, Jeff, I did take a little piece of Drake at plus 255, and that ended up working out well versus Wichita State. But if you want to just get down and have some fun here, we're talking about free bets as well. How about this, Jeff? $1,000 free bet that you can use anywhere here in March Madness. If Michigan goes on a run. Let's just say you take Michigan, right? You want them 6-1 odds. You put the $1,000 free bet down. If it wins, you get the $7,000 back. They're going to pay you cash value, Jeff, on that $1,000 free bet. Not going to take it away and give you your winnings. They're going to give that money to you cash back. That's what separates the FanDuel Sportsbooks from so many others. Sign up using the link below in the description and the promo code PICKSWISE to claim that now. I'm loaded up. I'm having fun. Had a profitable night last night. I got a lot of wagers in today. FanDuel, Jeff, only place to be.
The only place to be. Make sure you're checking out FanDuel right now if you're in a qualifying state. Jared Bush, turn your volumes up. No one said Oral Roberts is going to score 80. None of us said that. We said that they would score. And I will say, Donnie, keep in mind, no Kyle Young today. Kyle Young is out for Ohio State with a concussion. I think that's concerning. I think defensively he's pretty good. I think this is a high-scoring game. I'll lean on the fact that Ohio State can get into the 80s, and I think Oral puts high 70s, maybe 80 on the board. I'm going to go over the total in this one.
Give me the 16. I'm taking the 16 here on Oral Roberts.
Don't hate it.
Going. Not a great game here, but we do have to talk about it. 725, 726, Baylor versus Hartford. And we always talk about leveling up. This game's probably the most leveled up game you could possibly get between the two teams as we take a look here, Jeff. Opened up as a total of 142, now sits at 140. And look at the line here, minus 25.5, still saying at minus 25.5. This game should be a blowout because the talent level is huge. Baylor's going to be able to lock them down on defense and probably score at will. Hartford, like we talked about Oral Roberts, Jeff, not a fast-moving team. So it's not like, hey, let's just get volume up and see if we could shoot a crazy number and hang around. I don't think that takes place. So if I look at this game this morning, a little bit earlier, I fired on Baylor under 140.5. The reason being is, like, Baylor can get into the 80s, Jeff. I'm just not sure what the scoring margin for Hartford is going to be. So if I think a 25.5-point spread is somewhere around 20 in the second half, Baylor gets out of here with a victory. I don't think it's going to be a 90 to 70 type game in one of those atmospheres. I think they'll maybe be able to keep it low and slow in this one. I'm going to sit on an under 140.5 in this game. What do you think between Hartford and Baylor, Jeff?
Yeah, as the weeks went on, I've kind of gotten to the point where this game is just not in my repertoire. I think Hartford, Hartford is going to level up and Hartford is going to struggle. But we've also remembered that Baylor's has not been the same team, man, since that coronavirus bye. They've struggled, I think, defensively. They don't look like the same team. And, I've talked before, I think they're going to run into trouble because their front court isn't great. I mean, they have their guard plays great, but they're not great in the front court. And, I do know something about Hartford, and that Tracy Carter and Austin Williams and some of these kids on the perimeter are tough, man. Tracy Carter, a tough Philly kid. He's been around the block. He's been into a lot of different places. He could do some decent things. And look, it's only a 40-minute game. They're not going to be a ton of possessions. I think your play makes sense. I think ultimately, though, Hartford is going to struggle to score just because Baylor's just so much bigger and stronger and physical. I went back and forth. I know a lot of sharp money, if you trust sharp money, likes Hartford. And they've taken this number down a little bit. Baylor has one of the best scoring margins in America all season, but they just don't do the same thing for me, Donnie, after that COVID pause. I think they've struggled. This is obviously a different type of opponent, but I'm not taking anything here. This is a skip for me. Baylor will win, obviously. Other than that, I don't really have any interest. I hope Hartford play well. I would love to see them, put a scare into the Bears. John Gallagher's a good guy, and I like Carter a lot, but it could, as you said, it's a level up, and it's a tough level up at that.
Yeah, it is a tough one because I actually looked at a Baylor team total in the first half and then figured to myself, if Hartford's going to slow the game down, Baylor's got to get into the 40s to cash their team total in the first half. I just didn't think that was viable, even though I think Baylor does whatever they want to Hartford's defense, just from an athletic standpoint, inside and out. But I'm just going to stick with the under in this game and say, if this is going to be a blowout, we're not getting the last 2-minute foul explosion. They're going to walk the ball up the court. You're going to have some of the backups in who are still better players than probably what Hartford's going to have in their starting lineup. That's just the way I'm looking at it here. And I know you're looking forward to this one, Jeff, as we move on. 4 p.m., Indianapolis, Hinkle Fieldhouse. You can feel it right now, Jeff. Old school Hoosiers action. Loyola, Chicago, Georgia Tech. Key bit of information, as we know. One of the best players, if not the best player this year, we can agree on, the ACC, is not going to be playing here for Georgia Tech. But we're not picking money line. We're going against the spread. So if we take a look here, -3, we open up as a favorite for Loyola Chicago. Information comes out. That now jumps to a 5.5, and also a big drop. This is rare because, you have the big drop in like a total, Jeff, 160.5 to 157.5.
Yeah.
Say, all right, well, just a 157. You got a 3-point drop, Jeff, on a 127.5 line at FanDuel, now down to 124.5. So you're anticipating a rock fight. Now, hear me out on this. I like Loyola Chicago. That is a major advantage for them to going up against Georgia Tech without their best player. But I see limited possessions in this game. Do I think Loyola Chicago wins? I do. But Jeff, taking the 5.5 in this game with Georgia Tech and going against the public line movement in this, figuring this might be a 1, 2, or 3 possession game, and I'm going to take the 5.5 in this one.
It's Donnie. It's funny, the story on this. I was at Philly Live the other day in the book, and I was literally standing at the window. I asked the lady, I said, what's the Loyola line? She says 2.5. It's okay. I'll be back. I get a DM from somebody. It says, hey, and I've talked to this kid before. He's pretty good. He says, hey, I hear Moses Wright's out. You probably want to get in on this. I go back to the window. She goes, it's 3.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I like this info. I said, but, it's not, he's good, but he's not great. It could be, just some fan.
Yeah.
I didn't play it. I come back an hour later. I said, you know what? I'm just going to play that. I go to the window. Hey, what's the number on this game? She was 5.5. I said, Ninja. I said, I knew I should have played it at that 2.5, 3. This number is moved, and it should. Moses Wright is very good. And Donnie, now what do you do against Krutwig? Okay, the problem is it just quickly happened. There's not an immediate amount of time to really switch things around. And with this COVID stuff, it really makes it more difficult to quickly say, you know what, Donnie, let's get down and do something. Let's practice, we're traveling. There's things going on. This is disastrous for Georgia Tech, I think. Do they cover? Is this a low-scoring game and they can hang around because Alvarado and some of those kids are just good? Probably. But what I do believe is this is a low-scoring game. I think Loyola Chicago is the best defense in this tournament. I will admit I'm not exactly mad about seeing Moses Wright out because I was worried about this game a little bit. I think Georgia Tech have been playing well, and they could still ultimately win. But I'm just happy with the ticket I have. Move on. Let me just collect a little bit here with this this tournament. Let's move on to the next game. As far as this game, what I would recommend playing, I don't know if Georgia Tech can score. I just don't. I think Loyola's really good on the perimeter. I think Krutwig really just shuts the paint down. I think this is a low-scoring game. It will anyway. So I'm going to lean towards Georgia Tech team total under 59.5. That's kind of where Loyola games play. I'm just going to kind of hope this is a game that's played in the high 50s, mid 50s, and it could be. This is an ugly matchup for both teams, especially with Right Out, because his athleticism, his frame, his ability, I don't know if it could be matched.
No, and you're correct, because there's two train of thoughts when you look at this game, right? And I can never fault anybody for saying, like, the exact example you gave. It doesn't matter if you like the game or not. You get information, you know that line's going to move. So let's just say theoretically you had it at the window, you took the 2.5 once you got the information on Loyola Chicago, it goes to 5.5. It doesn't really matter what your cap on the game is, right, Jeff? Like, if somebody tells you this line's going to move 3 points, you're going to get in just like a good stock tip. Hey, I'm going to take my chances on this, and even if it doesn't win, hey, I got the 3 points on this. You live to fight another day. I get it. But I'm just taking the opposite approach where you knew the information was coming. You didn't get in time, so now you wait on the opposite end of the spectrum to say, okay, the line was 3 or 2.5. Now it's sitting at 5.5. Public jumping on each, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, right up on there on Loyola Chicago, and we'll see where it even ends today. That's the advantage I'm taking on this thing, saying I'm on the opposite side of the movement when I can't fault anybody, Jeff, being on the beginning, even if they don't like the game, like you're saying. You think they're going to win. I'll take the 2.5 because I know it's going to get to 5.5. There's two train of thoughts on this game, and you're not really wrong either way. We'll just see if that ticket cashes and makes you right. That's all.
Like, again, I will never come on this show today and say, you got to take Loyola 5.5. Like, I'm just not going to do that, man, because some info came in. Doesn't happen a lot, but I just have a hard time.
Yes.
I feel like if I liked Loyola, I should have bet it at 2.5. When it was at 2.5, I wouldn't have waited anyway to bet it. I'm really invested in this future I have for some reason. I don't know why I care so much, but I think the total is the best play in this game. That's just my thought. I think this is a low-scoring game. I don't know where the clear path of offense comes for really either team.
Yeah.
I just think the slight edge is to Loyola, and this is a low score. I'll root for you, though.
Yep. Chief says smash those thumbs up. I completely agree with that. And Dominic says, does UCLA have a chance against BYU? I mean, that game is going to take place, so obviously we're going to cover it, just not today, but we will keep that game on the back burner on this one and see what happens. But let's keep moving here. Good game for Jeff. I know Jeff's rooting for Loyola Chicago. He's got a big ticket in his pocket. He will be watching that game, and I like Loyola Chicago, so I'm going to root. But, hey, give me 55-50 final. We can all go home happy in that one.
I would be even, 58.
53?
Yeah, 58, 50. Yeah, just give me a game in the mid 50s.
Yeah.
Give me the game like Drake Wichita last night. I'm good with that.
No, absolutely. Let's keep going. Oregon State, Tennessee, one of those games, not the prettiest because most people have probably never seen Oregon State play, but the the Pac-12 is on the map last night with UCLA victory over Michigan State. Can they make it a two-step here and try to invade and beat Tennessee? I don't know if they can beat Tennessee, but you know what I do know, Jeff? Looking at the line that opened up at 8.5, hasn't moved, staying at 8.5 here. Over, under, another common theme that we talked about. Look at this line movement, Jeff. 134 down to 131. So a lot of people are anticipating the quote-unquote rock fights, but I got to tell you right now, I do think Tennessee wins. Tennessee plays elite defense. Tennessee sometimes, Jeff, struggles to score, which you know where that leads me? I like dogs in the tournament, and I'm going to take the points of prey on some of these. Give me Oregon State with the 8.5. What are you looking at here in this game, big man?
Yeah, I think if, and I love the move down. It makes total sense. If you zone Tennessee, they're not going to score. They can't shoot. So, and we've waited all year, Donnie, for Tennessee to step up, and they really haven't. So, they've kind of been disappointing in that right. I thought this was a team that could maybe make a Final Four run, and they could. Yeah. But the offense and everything just hasn't really come together for them. They're too dependent on Jaden Springer at times. And when I look at Oregon State, one thing I know about Tennessee is I've made the case that I think Pons is one of the best defenders in the country. He's just really tough to score on. And I don't know where their constant offense comes from either. But I think you're right. When you look at some of the factors you look at for a dog, can a team stay in a game? We were getting 8.5. Is this what do we have? 8.5?
8.5. Yes, correct.
Yeah. I don't hate Oregon State here just because they don't turn it over. They are a pretty good 3-point shooting team. And, they can get to the foul line and really kind of stay in a game that way. Look at the other night against Colorado, Donnie. That was a prime example of, kind of the free throw game. Colorado was, 12 for 20 from the line. Oregon State was 11 for 16. Not much better, 10% better, but it was the difference in the game, man. At the end of the day, I think that's a way they could hang in this one and maybe make it a little, closer than it should be. Tennessee has had a weird season all year. I wouldn't feel real comfortable laying points at them, to be frank. Oregon State maybe still riding a little bit of a high. I'll lean Beavers.
How about this next one here coming up, Jeff? Liberty, Oklahoma State. We all see how good Oklahoma State is. Oh, my goodness, they can't lose. They're going to be a sleeper. Not so fast with the betting public here, Jeff, because as we take a look at this game and set it up, rotation 7-47, 7-48. Line opens up at FanDuel, Jeff, at 9. Know what it sits today? -7. A 2-point drop here towards Liberty. Over under. How about this one, Jeff? 145.5 to 139.5. A massive downshift towards the under. And when you think of Oklahoma State, a lot of times you think of offense, try to get up and down the court. They're an elite defensive unit here, Jeff. 22nd in the country in adjusted efficiency. But I am a dog player in the tournament. Do I love this game? No, but I'm trying to give facts on each and every game. I think Liberty can do enough. Effective field goal percentage. We look at that a lot of the time. How are they using their percentages on offense, being Liberty, differentiating between turning the basketball over, shooting twos and shooting threes. Number 4 in the country. Turnover percentage, Jeff. Top 20 team, not turning it over. I think Liberty hangs around. Did I get the great number? No. And again, I can't say that, hey, Jeff, Sunday night, I got the 9. No, the line sits at 7. That's what I got to go with. Liberty, Jeff. Give me the 7.
Yeah, I mean, you're still getting the, 3 possessions-ish, so it's not terrible. I wouldn't want to go below 7, frankly, but, I agree with you. When you're looking at matchups, this is a bad matchup for Oklahoma State. Because I don't really think they have a way they could stop Liberty. If you zone Liberty, they'll just knock shots down. I think guard-wise, man-to-man, I think they have trouble as well. Richie McKay is a hell of a coach, man. If I'm a big program, I'm looking at Richie McKay for sure.
Who goes to Liberty? He went to Liberty, and he's getting his teams to back-to-back tournaments.
Let's go back to last year's Liberty team. They lost a ton of talent, man.
Yes.
Look at this team. I mean, you lose Holmesley, Scotty James, Pacheco Ortiz, Elijah, one other guy as well, Maya Baxter Bell. They lose 4 seniors last year. No issue. Still here. Now, I will say the Atlantic Sun wasn't great this year. You had one team that couldn't even compete, and, Lipscomb didn't play particularly well, but hey, they're here and they're really solid. They're really good offensively, and they can also hang their hat that they're pretty damn good defensively as well. I think Oklahoma State's turned into a little bit of a trendy team.
Yes.
I don't have any issue with taking the dog here. I do lean with getting 9. I wish I would have got that price more, but Julian Cesario says Oklahoma will smash. I'm not quite sure about that. I guess ultimately any team could do that, and we could look stupid. But when you're looking at matchups, this isn't a great one. Cade Cunningham could just take this game over. Donnie, all year I've been impressed by Oklahoma State's ability to not be the LSU Ben Simmons team where Cade Cunningham's just isolating and the only player that can do anything. But I will admit Oklahoma State has continued to defy. They've done a nice job. I give Mike Boynton a lot of credit, but this is a tough matchup. I wouldn't want to see Liberty in a bracket. McKay is good. He gets his players to buy into defense. They're basically Virginia light. I think they're prepared here. I'll agree with you. I think the 7.5 is a good play.
What a fun tournament, man. Going over all these games here on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, powered by PicksWise and also sponsored. And I can't say sponsored, but I guess we could say what? Big ups to FanDuel, because you see right below where we're talking, $1,000 risk free. If you haven't got in yet, it's $1,000 for free. If you got the 1,000 around, you say, hey, I'm going to go ahead. Donnie told me to take Liberty, get the 7 points, and it loses. You know what, Jeff? You can't even get that mad at Donnie. Why? Because FanDuel gives you the 1,000 back.
Yeah, look, I'm going to tell you, I have a lot of experience with FanDuel. Around here,
it's great.
Yeah, everybody has it. I think, it's that name that – and look, let's be honest. I don't know if there's a book that can touch it. There isn't a book that can touch it. The market share they have is incredible. Their books are great too. Like I said, I was at Philly Live. Beautiful spot. Easy to use. It looks good. So yeah, go check FanDuel out. Michael Newton says, great. Listen, guys, love the breakdowns. Thank you, man. We appreciate you checking in. Thanks for joining us here. If you're new around here or you're just checking out the show for the first time or you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're in here, make sure you like the show as well, whether you're on the replay or not. What's up? Thanks for listening if you're on the replay. Donnie, we have a couple more. Let's keep it moving.
Yep. Crossed over 300 people watching live. Thank you guys for that. We'll be here today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. We are going to let it rock and roll all through March Madness on the Hoops Betting Hour. What's that?
Are you in on the Monday thing now, Donnie? I am,
yes. But being in the industry, it's great for us because when you got to do content on a Monday, it's usually rehashing of what happened and looking forward. You're still in the middle of it, Jeff. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
Let's keep going. 727, 728. Maybe one of the higher bet games of the day, specifically because it's going to come at 7 o'clock tonight. But everybody likes to get a piece of UNC going up against Wisconsin. I want to go fast. You want to go slow. We take a look at the game at FanDuel. Opens up as a -2 for Carolina. Actually drops down to a -1.5. And again, same theme here for us, Jeff. 138.5 down to 137.5. When I take a look at UNC, Jeff, I don't care that Wisconsin likes to slow it down and do what they got to do. UNC's tempo, they try to force it on each and every team they play, the athletes to get out and run. If you're playing Wisconsin and UNC, Jeff, there's even more of an attitude. We're saying the other team really doesn't want to go fast. Let's try to force them to go fast with our athletes in this game. It's sacrilegious to try to take a look at an over in a Wisconsin game, but the same way I cashed the ticket the other night with a St. Mary's over in the NIT, I'm going to do the same thing with here. I'm not looking at the game because I do think it's razor thin. I know you're going to get angry at Wisconsin here, so let me get this point out. UNC, to me, is the more talented team. If they play their game, they're going to beat Wisconsin. But I'm not worried about that. I'm looking for points in this game, Jeff. In a rarity for me for the tournament that I look unders, I'm going to take the over 137.5 in this ball game now, Jeff. Let the Wisconsin hate commence. Go ahead.
I thought that was high, man. I hear your thought process. I wish you could have got a little bit better number. It is high because, this Wisconsin team is brutal. I mean, every time you think it's time, and I'll hear it today. They're going to compete here. This is their shot. They had it all year. This team shouldn't be in this tournament, but they are, and I'm moving on. But sometimes, as I said, you must do what you believe in. I don't think Wisconsin's bigs can stop UNC's bigs. It's just that simple. And I'm going to shout out Brad Davidson. Shout out to you, Brad Davidson, you little worm. At the end of the day, Brad Davidson's been the most disappointing kid in the country. He's just been bad. He doesn't shoot the ball well. He hasn't done anything bad. And you could tell because he's committing a lot of fouls as usual. He's always getting breaks. He's a little weasel, Brad Davidson. Look, I worry a bit about Caleb Love and the turnover problems for Carolina, but I don't believe in Wisconsin. I'm not going to ever believe in them. They could turn it on when it matters most and be that blue chip stock that you always want. If I had to play this game, I would lean towards Carolina. But I'm going to root for you. I think you have the right mindset here in this game. I just wish it was like 131.5 instead. I want to shout out one kid here. Jeremy DeLeon says, I'm a new person to the show, but love the content and appreciate what you all do. Thanks, man. Appreciate you checking in. Dottie, we have our loyal fans, people that love our stuff, but it's always great to build the audience. And we thank Jeremy for checking out the show. Hope you learned something and hope you enjoy it. Thanks, man. Donnie, I'm rooting for you here. But
let's go.
Brad Davidson comes across to me as a Grayson Allen type. He's a hard person to root for, and he hasn't played well.
No, and I agree. And the guys that come in and just checking us out for the first time, the one thing you'll know right away, we never talk over your head. We might talk and get angry at you a little bit, but we're not going to, you say our models and these specific numbers only matter. It's two guys talking gambling and college basketball and really enjoying themselves. And I know that plays well in the chat box where you can come in here and give your opinion. If we like it, we'll like it. If we don't like it, we'll tell you we don't like it, but that's what it's for here. Same thing that everything I say, Jeff doesn't like. Same everything Jeff says, I don't like, but it's the same way out there. We just want to get across that, hey, we're passionate about college basketball. March Madness is here, and we're glad you guys are enjoying it. And we'll keep moving here, 7:55, 7:56. Cleveland State and Houston. Now, Jeff, this is going to be a tough one. And what I like to say is This is a game where I walk my dog, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I like Houston. You like Houston. I have a futures play on Houston. Houston's going to win today, but we are gamblers here. So when you take a look at the lines in this game, 19.5 to 20, and yes, another 135 that turns into 134.5. How about this wager here, Jeff? This is a tough one because this number is ridiculous, and I'm still going to take the under on it. Cleveland State's team total first half, Jeff, under 26, and I'm going under. 20, Jeff, not 36, not 41.5, 26, and I'm going under.
No, I actually really like that play. And I actually agree with you. I'm gonna jump in the boat with you here.
Let's go, man.
And I'm gonna recommend we play that.
Yes.
Here's the problem for Cleveland State. This is a disastrous matchup because Cleveland State, and I know other basketball people that I respect have the same opinion, may have one of the worst shot selections in America. I mean, they are really hard to watch because they just settle all the time. Stupid, bad jump shots. And I think they're going to get perturbed and annoyed from this game. They're a very downhill offense. And when I say downhill, I mean they want to attack the hoop, get to the line, create that way. That's really their only way to score. And Houston just doesn't really allow much of that. They're a dominant defensive team. And I think for Cleveland State, they get really bogged down here. I think the athleticism and the ability of Houston on the defensive end, particularly early, really bothers them. It wouldn't surprise me if they struggle to get to 20 in the first half. I think Cleveland State is going to be really just knocked in the face here when they face this team. And, if they are to get to the line, which they are pretty good at doing, Cleveland State, they don't make them, Donnie. 66.9% from the line, not good enough. I think Houston – is probably up here, I don't know, 41-22 at the half, something like that. I actually like Houston. I think first half is a good play as well. It's probably, 11.5, I think. I don't have the number here.
I don't have the number 11.5, but it's probably going to be in that range for you. Yeah.
So it's 11.5. I was hoping 9.5 or 10, but I'm going to go agree with you. I think we're just back on the fact that Cleveland State at the under 4 timeout has 17, and we just got to bank on the fact that Houston can play their normal defense.
Effective field goal percentage in the country, Jeff. Houston, guess what number they are? Give me a guess.
On offense?
Defense.
I think they're number 1.
Number 1 overall. That means 3-point percentage, hard to shoot against them. 2 points, hard to shoot against them. Block percentage getting to the rim, hard to get it up. Steals, top 15. It's going to be a tough one here, but the 26 is kind of mind-numbing to me as an over player, but it makes a lot of sense where nothing will come easy today, specifically in the first half when Houston is engaged in that game.
The good thing about Houston, Donnie, also is if you are going to lay a number at 20 or higher today or this weekend, I don't think you can make it's not an issue to do it with Houston. Houston either wins by 40 or 30 or 2. Like, they don't really win by 15. Correct. They either win 88-52 or 71. Like, it's either close or they don't, it's a blowout. So, yeah, I don't hate that. I think Cleveland State's pretty bad. I mean, I think if you ran the Horizon League 9 other times, I don't think they would win it. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Let's do the team total under first half. I think they struggle.
Two defensive teams, Jeff, about to tee it up here. North Texas and Purdue. If we set the table here, 731, 732 on the rotation. Another one, Jeff, opens up at FanDuel, 126.5, sits at 126 even now. So a drop down. Purdue opened up as the favorite. Obviously still the favorite at -7.5. That now sits at 7. It's a tough game, but look, the only game I didn't really have a side on was that Drexel, Illinois game. So I do like to give, a little portion of each and every game of this first round that I do like. And I got to tell you, I'm going to go with the team total, Jeff, but I'm going to go with the team total over in Bucket Trend. I know how well North Texas plays, but again, North Texas not in a Conference USA, where we're going to really get nervous about some of the offensive talent. Purdue's a really good basketball team, Jeff. Top 25 in the country in offensive efficiency. They do a lot of things well. I know North Texas plays really good defense, but I'm looking at a low number here, Jeff. I'm taking, just as I took an under with the Cleveland State game as a team total, I'm going first half for Purdue over 31.5. I think Purdue can get into the low 30s against North Texas. Just got to be able to make a couple shots here on the end. I'd say, well, then why don't you take it full game? I just think I'm going to get a pure first half out of Purdue here. I think they can get in the 30s. I'm going with that. A team total with Purdue first half. Again, that number sits, Jeff, 31.5. What are we looking at North Texas, Purdue here from your angle?
Yeah, so North Texas, I'm a big fan of this team, particularly on the defensive end. They're a joy to watch. They switch. They're very good with opposing bigs. They did a great job against Lofton for La Tech. Did a great job against Charles Bassey. Really turned him into a jump shooter. They don't have a ton of personnel, Donnie, but the personnel they have really play hard and really wonk it up defensively. So I don't think they're going to have much trouble here. Williams is a really good big, but all year they played very well against opposing bigs. I don't really worry too much about Purdue offensively. I think, against this type of team, they'll struggle. This game's going to be low scoring. It's going to be a game played probably in the low 60s, high 50s. Purdue might bucket and get, the high 60s. But the best play, I think, in this game, Donnie, and I'll be honest and I'll throw this out there, I think this could be the best play of the absolute whole day. I don't think I'm blown away if North Texas gets to 60 here. I just don't see where it comes from. When you look at their path to offense, it goes through Javion Hamlet, who is a tough kid, good player. But Eric Hunter, I've watched defend really good Big Ten guards and did a good job against them. Even like he shut down Demetric Trice, who I think for Wisconsin is their best offensive player. He shut him down. I think he keys in really well in Hamlet. And I think once that happens, I'll trust that Edey and Williams and the bigs can really kind of tamp down Simmons. And I think the perimeter, I like Stefanovic and some of their Willis, some of their wing players. I'm going to go North Texas. I like the under full game, but I'm going to go under 59.5. I'd be really surprised. That would blow me away if they get into the 60.
No, I like looking at unders. So I really do, and I think that's a pretty good look by you on that end of it because you're talking about a team that's not really in the flow on offense. So I want to be at a preview, and they're leveling up. Go ahead.
Exactly. I want to throw one more thing out there, Donnie, and this is something that I capped when I looked at this game during the season. Keep in mind, North Texas 350 in tempo, Purdue 274. So this is going to be a real sloggy game, but then I want to show you against higher end teams. So let's look at North Texas. Played Arkansas, scored 54. Played Mississippi State, scored 63. They're not in the tournament, so we'll throw them out. West Virginia, they're in the tournament. North Texas scored 50. Loyola Chicago, 49. So in layman's terms, if you average those out, Donnie, against tournament teams, North Texas 51 points a game. It just doesn't constitute them getting into the 60s here. So that's where I'm going with it. North Texas team total under.
If you ever saw the movie 300, Jeff, well, we got over 300 people watching now, sitting back there. Hold. Yes, hold the line because got a couple more games to go before we get out of here and watch this circus take place that starts right around noon here on the first day of March Madness. And we are in celebration mode here on the Hoops Betting Hour with Jeff Nadu, powered by PicksWise and presented by the FanDuel Sportsbook. And you see below there, right there, Jeff, see little money bags below where we're talking. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Get in on that, man. Thousands.
And make sure you check out PicksWise. We got the contest going on. I'm battling out against other people. Yep. I guess according to PicksWise, I'm the favorite. According to them,
yes, you are.
I don't know if I'm the favorite. I don't know much about all the other players. I know Rothstein's in it. I don't know how good of a handicapper he is. I think the sleeper, Donnie, in this tournament is that Rashad Phillips guy. I think he, from what I understand, knows a lot about the game, and I think it's got a sneaky gambling mind. So I'm going to go with him.
All right, so we'll see what happens here. A game that's not on the board with FanDuel. Why? Because it's Rutgers, and yes, it's New Jersey. So we'll go quickly on this one. Rutgers and Clemson. I do think we joked about, the one team that you don't like in the tournament who you just try to root against. It's Clemson. Love them in football. Can't stand them in basketball. I like Rutgers to win this game, but no wagers here on FanDuel, so I'll keep it short.
Yeah, I think Donnie has a weird thought that his state is the only thing that matters. Like the other states don't have this. We have this game up, Donnie. Okay, so
on FanDuel, you got it up?
Of course.
There you go.
We're not in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm leaning Clemson, and I'll tell you why. There's only one reason. This is a coin flip, pick-em game, basically. This game means nothing, I think, in the grand scheme of things. But, Donnie, I think I saw yesterday somebody put it out there that this game is the most bet game of the day as far as Rutgers is concerned. Yeah, I think like 80% of the stuff coming in is on Rutgers. I've seen Rutgers many times. They don't do anything for me. Offensively, they suck. Over the years, they've really struggled away from the rack.
Yep.
I mean, last year, I don't think they won a game on the road. Clemson isn't great, and I don't like Brunell either. I'm not betting this one. I'm not telling you to wager on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson wins. Also, this Melvin in the chat makes a great point, Donnie. Rutgers is the worst free throw shooting team in this tournament. Clemson in the mid-70s. That's a real concern if you're Rutgers. That could be the difference in this game. I lean Clemson.
No, and it's a good point that you bring up there as well. And also, I mean, let's take a side swipe here, right? There's guys on Rutgers, Jeff, that want to get paid for this game. So does that play into it a little bit for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that has to be like obviously your attention is elsewhere. But it's funny because we're not owned by the NCAA, which I agree they're not, but you'll be out there playing today, so shut up. Boycotts, Donnie, are meant to be not comforting. You're going to feel a little pain. If they really cared, these kids shouldn't play today then. None of them will do that, though. So it's all just smoke, man. It's all just talking. Donnie, another thing quickly I want to talk about. What on earth world are we in? We're actually, and I don't like Izzo. I think he's, he did a lot of his behavior during the Nassar stuff was kind of disturbing, frankly. But what are we doing here with yelling at a player? It's coaching. It's basketball. Why is everything a thing now? You can't yell. Every kid's got to talk back to a coach. Like, look, I get you don't want to be talked down to it. I don't know what Izzo said, but I'm going to guess Izzo said something pretty, basketball related, and somebody flipped out. You got to show some altered respect to a coach. Like, he's your coach. He's the leader of the team. Like, why are we making it, Tom Izzo got in a heated exchange? Like, yeah, and it's basketball.
Yeah. And I guess it's just a different time because my favorite coaches, Jeff, got in my grill in practice.
Sure.
Live. I was in a huddle, Jeff, where my coach is launching into me where everybody on the sideline in the stands can hear it. And it was all about me missing an assignment. But I didn't cry. I didn't say, boy, I got to get out of here. I said, you know what? He's actually right.
Donnie, I will tell you this till the day I die. The most important people in this country are coaches. They do more for young men, particularly black men, than anyone. Without basketball and football and programs and coaches, we would be way worse than we even are now. We need these coaches. We need this strict, teaching, being a father figure, man. We have to stop, dumbing this down. Stop doing this stuff. This kills that. Stop doing that.
No,
Donnie,
there's
one
so
other
many
thing.
people that they touch lives like that on that stuff. Like there's coaches that you would literally walk through barbed wire for, and that means a lot. Go ahead.
Yes, and ask the kid that he got in an argument with. I'm gonna tell you right now, he loves it. So when I was a kid, Donnie, I made one mistake that I remember in my life when I was really young. My dad gripped me up. I was so worried when he came home. You know my dad. You've met my dad. He's a great guy. He's one of the best fathers you could have. But Donnie, I'll tell you what, he gripped me up. I don't think I ever did that stupid crap again. We stop. Why is everything you can't? And I'm not saying you can't hit people, obviously, but a little tongue lashing, Donnie. Hey, don't do that. Exactly. It goes a long way.
Absolutely. Here, let's got a couple games left here in the hoops betting hour that we need to get to, and I'm looking forward to this game. And this is great. Like, look at this, Jeff. Like, we got tip off at 12:15, and I'm excited for a game when 9:40 tonight. And that's going to be 7:49, 7:50. Syracuse and San Diego State open up at 2.5, move to 3. This line actually went a little bit higher at FanDuel, Jeff, as a total 138 to 139. I've talked about this game all week long. Do I like Syracuse? Do I think Syracuse is talented? Can Syracuse win? Yes, they can. But San Diego State, to me, Jeff, gets Syracuse at the exact time you want to get Syracuse. If you know anything about San Diego State's program, whether it's through coaches or players, it's the same notion. Extremely well coached. They'll play good defense. They'll make the right pass. They'll hit the open jump shot. When you're playing a matchup zone like Syracuse, Jeff, and you have a week and a half to get prepared for them, and your coaches are the San Diego State coaching staff and the kids that can knock down shots, I'll take them each and every day. I love take the points and pray in the tournament. Not today, not in this game. The perfect matchup for San Diego State, as long as they're hitting their shots, and they've done it all year, so I'm not going to doubt it now. They're going to beat Syracuse, and I'm laying the 3 here, Jeff, with San Diego State.
Couldn't agree more. I agree with you totally. I think they're the perfect team to shut Buddy Boeheim down. I think once you can shut Buddy down, and even if Buddy goes off, I still think San Diego State has plenty of options. They are a great shooting team this year. That's the difference that they have this year that not a lot of other teams have had. Matt Mitchell's a leader. They've got some real length. They're an elite defensive team as usual, and they're well coached. I think Jim Boeheim has lost a step 20 years ago. I think Brian Dutcher coaches circles around him, frankly, at this point. I agree with you. I think San Diego State is a good basketball team. And I'm going to tell you, last opportunity, 65 to 1 on San Diego State is a good price. This is a good team. Remember last year, Donnie, I know they lost Flynn, but this was a team that was undefeated going late into the season. They were a top 3 seed. This is a good basketball team even now. The emergence of Terrell Gomez, the Cal Northridge transfer, is really giving them a lot defensively. I like SDSU. I think they move on. I think they win this game, 71-62, something like that. I'm going to take them to win comfortably. I agree with you.
Fun stuff here. And I love untethered chatter that me and Jeff have now because, we can go over every game. We can give a side on every game. We don't have to hide it and say, this person's getting that or that. It's just fun talk all the way through. I'm having a blast today as we're an hour and 10 into the show. Just a few more games to go over. 2 games late at night, 9:50. This one's going to start, Jeff. Morehead State and West Virginia. If you take a look at the FanDuel Sportsbook, opened up as a 12-point favorite, Jeff, to West Virginia. Now sits at 13. A drop in the line here, 138 down to 137. This was a tough one because I can see both sides of it. And if you haven't seen Morehead State, talented 5, athletic 5. They can score, they can defend. This should be a pretty good game. We know West Virginia's going to try to get a little bit up-tempo, turn you over, and they should be able to do that. As much as I like to say I like the unders, I'm still looking at some points in this game. 137 feels about right for me. I'll lean on the over in this one because I want to give a side or at least a total in every game. I'm going to go over in the West Virginia game at 137. What are you looking at here between Morehead State and West Virginia?
Yeah, Donnie, we haven't heard much about press Virginia this year.
Yes.
They've kind of gotten away from that over the last year or two. There was a game, though, Donnie, where they pressed West Virginia, and I remember back to it. It was against Richmond, and they really turned it up. If you saw Texas Southern last night, Donnie, they did that, and it really bothered Mount St. Mary's. If I'm Bob Huggins today, that's what I would do here. Moorehead has major turnover problems, and I think that's the way Moorehead plays their way out of this game. I do think, though, if West Virginia do not press and this game kind of turns into the half-court battle, I think it's a tough matchup for West Virginia. I thought the number was a little high. I like Janai Broom a lot. I think he can handle Culver. Culver's not looked good to me. I think West Virginia is very reliant a lot of the time on making 3-point shots. Now, we just kind of pointed it out. Sometimes teams are just good from 3, and they're going to make their shots. But Moorehead showed all year that they can defend. I think defensively against Belmont, I was really impressed by what they did. I thought this number was a little high. I'll take a shot with Moorehead. I worry about the turnovers, though. This could get out of hand. And we know how the press is, Donnie. You either get beat by it and struggle, or you get past it and
dismantle it. Yeah.
So I think Moorehead could do that because they do have a lot of experience for the most part, particularly at the guard position with a Devin Cooper or, a Potter or whoever. But when I first saw this number, I thought anything above 10, I would have some interest in Moorehead. I think they dirty this game up, and Broom is a kid that I think is really solid. So I'll lean on taking the 13 here.
All right, last game of the day, we'll talk about 7:29, 7:30. And if you watch anything on, TV, ESPN, people giving out picks on Twitter, it's already formality. Winthrop don't need the points. They're just going to eviscerate Villanova and move on to the next round and see if they can make a run to the Sweet 16. But here's where you take a look at when you see the talking heads on TV, but also the people that are actually betting money, sharps, squares, whatever they might be. Look at the line, Jeff. Winthrop, easy victory, right? Opens up at 6.5 as a favorite for Villanova. You know what it is today? Still 6.5. If it was such an easy upset victory, why hasn't Winthrop cut that down to 5, 4.5, 3, 2.5, or something ridiculous like
the Loyola movement?
Exactly. You're exactly correct here. Now, we don't have the major injury, but from the amount of people just looking around saying, oh my God, look at the collapse by Villanova. Yeah, they lost their last 2 games. Let's keep in mind, they didn't get blown out, Jeff. 2-point game, 1-point game, still playing the Big East, still one of the single best coaches in NCAA action in Jay Wright. This is the talented team. Yes, Winthrop can shoot. Yep, Winthrop's fun team. Winthrop's blown out a lot of lower level competition. Now they're going to step up in class. And again, that line movement says a lot to me. Do I think Villanova can win and cover? I do. But I'm going to look at it a different way here. To me, Jeff, if Villanova is the superior team, they're going to show it in the first half. If Villanova is down at the half, they are in deep trouble in this ball game. I'm taking Villanova, Jeff, first half, -3.5 to be up 4 points, come out, steady the reins, get the victory in this game. But again, the initial point is everybody loves Winthrop. Winthrop's going to win. Jeff, that line hasn't moved. So obviously, is that not the case?
I heard one of those goofy radio touts, Donnie, yesterday talking about give me a call now, a recorded message, and I'll give you this game. And I heard him talk about this game. You know what he said, Donnie, about Winthrop? He said they're an elite defense. Look at their defense. They don't give up more than 70 in any game. Yeah. Hey, here's the problem. They play in the Big South, arguably the worst overall conference you'll find. They suck. The best team they played this year was Furman. Furman was disappointing. I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking Winthrop. They might, throw an ointment into the fly into the ointment here, but it's Villanova, it's Robinson Earl, it's Samuels. I think they pose matchup problems. And Donnie, I'm going to call his name out. Chris Arcidiacono. Just be steady. Do not turn the basketball over. Make some plays. I don't need you to score 20 points here. Give me 8 assists. Be involved. You're not totally lost. Donnie, it's not like they're throwing me at point guard today. This kid's a player. He played at high-level high school basketball in this area. He's got good bloodlines. If he could be half of what his brother is, Villanova's going to be just fine. And I'm going to tell you right now that I remember that name, Arcidiacono. I think the kid could be a steady. He's not Gillespie, but he's enough, I think, in this game. I haven't heard one person on Villanova until now. I like Villanova. I think they win.
Let's do it. Yeah, nice. I think 10 o'clock game tonight.
Yeah, 75-65, something like that. I think they win by double digits. I'm going Villanova.
Jermaine Samuels, Justin Moore, Justin Earl, Jeremiah Earl, Robinson Earl. I mean, come on, man. You have some talent on this team. Let's see it play out. And hey, we could be wrong. Big man, told you. Everybody told you Winthrop's going to win. That's the beauty of March Madness. I just think Villanova, if they are going to win this game, will be up at least a couple points at the half. That's the way I'm going. So all those games covered up and down, gave plays on just about every game. I'm excited. I'll have out my Sharpies today. I'll be hitting check marks, X marks, checking my bank account. But the one thing that is important here, over 300 people watching still into this show, well over an hour into it. We told you we would crank it up for March Madness, and this is only the beginning. A lot more good stuff to come with Jeff. And just as fast as we cover these games today, you know what tomorrow morning on a Saturday we'll be doing? Covering day 2, round 1 in the same fashion. It's good stuff.
Yeah, Don, it's all about retention. Can you get the people to stay the whole time? We've been on here over an hour and 15 minutes, and we're still above that number. It's not easy to build a show. We've done it pretty quick in a week or so. Thanks all for listening. We hit every game. We all gave opinions on everything. I don't think there's much more we can go over. But as
you guys don't pick enough games.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 9 a.m. here on PicksWise. I'm going over the picks for Saturday. Donnie, I've got to jump out of here and go get my vaccine and be home by the time of the tournament. Yes, I'm getting the vaccine at 11 a.m. So
there you go.
Let's hope I don't have a tail by the end of the day. But you got it. You're fine. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm okay for now. Yep.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for checking out the show. As always, make sure you go frequent FanDuel. Make sure you check out PicksWise. Check out the contest going on. Make sure you subscribe either way if you do around here or you just haven't done it yet. Hit the like button. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. Enjoy basketball. I always see this best bets question. Should we answer that, Donnie? Best bets? I mean,
what do you got? Best bets? I got 15 of them today. So.
I don't really. That's a good. I guess for me, the best bet to me is I like Ohio State Oral Roberts over, and I like North Texas team total under. But guys, again, we don't now in these shows. We just give out our opinion on every game. We don't really have. I don't really look at anything. If I don't like a game, I'll tell you. I kind of say like I'm not playing it if I don't like it. Donnie kind of mentioned the one game or two he didn't like, so we just kind of like each of these. So
yeah,
play them at your own risk. Do what you want to do. We're here to give you the opinion in our content every day. So yeah, I'll throw it out. North Texas team total under 59.5. There you go, or the under in the game. Have a great day.
And Big Man also with his picks following through the tournament as well. So we'll be here. Let's have some fun. Kick it off because, Jeff, it's 10:19 in 2 hours around about. We'll have some
already be in play.
Action.
Enjoy the games today. We're back Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. Have a great day. Enjoy basketball. March Madness is here. Have a great day. Bye-bye.